At 7:42 in the morning, I opened my investing account and saw a number I will never forget. $11,684. That might sound like a decent amount of money, except the night before my account was worth more than $120,000. I refreshed the page. Same number. I closed the app and reopened it. Still there? Then I checked the stock price, hoping my phone was glitching. It wasn't. In less than one night, one trade had erased the biggest investing win of my life. But the worst part wasn't losing the money. The worst part was knowing that just 12 hours earlier, I had a chance to walk away with everything, and I chose not to. This story didn't begin with me trying to become a millionaire. It started with me being tired of feeling behind. Everywhere I looked, someone seemed to be winning. People online were posting screenshots of five-figure profits. Friends were talking about stocks that had doubled. Complete strangers were claiming they had discovered the next company that would change the world. Meanwhile, I was checking my bank account before ordering food. I had about $8,000 saved. It had taken me years to build that amount. Extra shifts, canceled trips, cheap meals, and dozens of moments when I told myself, maybe next month. That money was supposed to be my safety net. But after watching the market climb for months, the safety net started to feel like wasted potential. I didn't want $8,000 sitting in a bank account. I wanted it to become something. I wanted proof that I wasn't too late. So I opened an investing account. And at first I did everything correctly. I bought boring investments, large companies, index funds, businesses that actually made money. I watched videos about diversification, risk management, and long-term compounding. I told myself I was going to be patient. And for the first few months, my $8,000 became $8,400, then $8,700. It wasn't exciting, but it was working. The problem was that responsible investing looked painfully slow compared with what I was seeing online. One person turned $2,000 into $20,000. Another claimed he had made his annual salary in 3 weeks. Then I saw a post about a small technology company that supposedly had a breakthrough product coming. The post had charts, numbers, technical language, and, most importantly, a screenshot showing a massive profit. Looking back, I didn't understand half of what I was reading, but it looked intelligent. And when greed wants permission, it can make almost anything look like research. I told myself I would invest only $500, just enough to make the situation interesting. That wasn't life-changing money. But emotionally, something had changed. My boring investments had taken months to earn a similar percentage. This stock had done it before lunch, so I added another $1,000. The price climbed again. Then I added $2,000 more. Within 2 weeks, my account had crossed $12,000, top comma. I had made several $1,000s while doing almost nothing. No extra shifts, no customers, no alarm clock. I just tapped a button and watched a number grow. That was the first dangerous lesson the market taught me. Making money quickly can make you believe you understand why you made it. I thought I had discovered a talent. In reality, I had discovered a rising stock. Those are not the same thing. But I wouldn't understand that until much later. The company kept releasing positive news. Every announcement pushed the price higher. My account crossed $15,000.com, then $20,000, then $30,000. I started checking the price constantly. Before getting out of bed, while eating, at red lights, in the bathroom. I knew the price better than I knew my own schedule. When it dropped, my entire mood changed. When it rose, I felt unstoppable. Then, I discovered options. For anyone unfamiliar with options, they allow you to control a larger position while using less money. They can multiply your gains. They can also multiply your losses. But at the time, I focused on only one half of that explanation. I bought a small call option. The stock jumped. The option gained 80%, comma. I made more money in 2 days than I had made during months of normal investing. That should have scared me. Instead, it convinced me. Soon I wasn't investing based on what I believed the company would be worth in 5 years. I was betting on what the price might do by Friday. I began watching charts with colorful lines I barely understood. I joined online groups where everyone spoke with complete confidence. Every dip was a buying opportunity. Every bad announcement was manipulation. Every person who disagreed was called a coward. And every price target was higher than the last. At first, I risked a few $100s per trade, then 1,000, then 5,000, and somehow I kept winning. My account reached $47,000, then $63,000. Then, after one unbelievable week, it crossed $90,000. I remember staring at the number and thinking, this is it. This is the moment everything changes. I calculated how much debt I could pay off. I looked at cars. I checked homeprices.com. I even calculated how much the money could become if I continued earning at the same rate. That calculation was ridiculous. But success makes ridiculous assumptions feel reasonable. The company had an important product announcement scheduled for Tuesday. The internet was convinced it would send the stock flying. People were predicting a 20%, 30%, or even 50% move. I bought more options before the announcement. More than I had ever purchased before. The announcement came out. The product was better than expected. The stock exploded. My options jumped in value so quickly that I thought the numbers were delayed. My account crossed $100,000, then $110,000. At its highest point, I saw $126,000. $417 on the screen. I took a screenshot. I looked at it for several minutes. $8,000 had become more than $126,000. It was the biggest financial win of my life. And that was the exact moment I should have sold. I knew it. My body knew it. Even people in the online group were posting that they were taking profits. But then someone wrote, "Tomorrow is when the real move starts." 5 words. That was all it took. I had 2 choices. Choice 1. Sell the options, lock in the money, and walk away with a profit that could genuinely change my life. Choice 2. Hold overnight and possibly make even more. The responsible choice was obvious, but I wasn't thinking like the person who had carefully saved $8,000. I was thinking like the person who had just made more than $100,000 and believed he had finally figured out the market. I told myself that selling would be weak. I told myself I had to let winners run. I told myself the company's future was still strong. All of that sounded reasonable. But underneath those explanations was the truth. $126,000 no longer felt like enough. An amount I had once considered impossible had become disappointing within a few hours. I started imagining 150,000, then 200,000, maybe even 250,000. I didn't hold because the trade still made sense. I held because I had already mentally spent money I hadn't earned yet. The stock began slipping near the end of the trading day. Nothing dramatic. Down 1%.com. Then 2%.com. My options dropped by several $1,000s. I almost sold. My finger hovered over the button. Then the price bounced slightly. The online group exploded with messages. Shakeout. Last chance before tomorrow. Weak hands are selling. So I stayed. By the closing bell. My account was worth approximately $118,000. I had lost around $8,000 from the peak. But I was still up an unbelievable amount. I closed the app and tried to enjoy the evening. I couldn't. Every few minutes, I checked after-hours trading. The stock was moving lower. Down another 2% gone. Then 4%, comma. I felt a tightness in my stomach. But I kept telling myself the same sentence. It will recover in the morning. That sentence became my prayer. At around 9:30 that night, the notification appeared. The company had announced an unexpected secondary stock offering. In simple terms, it planned to sell more shares to raise money. That meant the existing shares could be diluted. The market hated it. The stock dropped instantly, down 8%, then 12%, then 17%. I stared at the screen as the price collapsed. Because the normal market was closed, I couldn't sell my options. I was trapped. All I could do was watch the stock fall and estimate how much money I was losing. I searched for reassuring opinions. That was a mistake. Some people said the offering was actually positive. Others claimed the market was overreacting. A few people posted that they were buying more. I grabbed onto every optimistic comment and ignored everything else. At midnight, the stock was down nearly 25%. I still convinced myself there would be a recovery before the opening bell. I barely slept. At 6 in the morning, I checked the price. It had fallen further. At 7, it dropped again. By then, I knew the options were nearly destroyed. But part of me still believed in a miracle. Maybe buyers would step in. Maybe the company would release a statement. Maybe trading would open and the stock would suddenly reverse. At 7:42, I checked the estimated value of my account. $11,684. More than $100,000 had disappeared. Not because I needed the money to survive. Not because I had been forced to take a risk. Not because someone had stolen it. I lost it because I saw a life-changing amount of money and decided it wasn't enough. When the market opened, the stock fell again. My options were so far below the strike price that there were almost no buyers. The contracts I had bought for tens of thousands of dollars were now worth a fraction of that amount. I sold what remained. Then, I sat there in silence. People imagine losing money feels dramatic.com. Maybe you yell, throw something, punch a wall. For me, it was quieter. I just felt empty. I opened the screenshot showing $126,417. Then I looked at my current balance. The screenshot felt like evidence from another life. I started calculating everything I could have done with the money. A down payment. Years of rent. Debt paid off. Money invested safely. A business. A future. Every calculation made the pain worse. Then came the shame. How could I tell anyone? If I said I had made more than $100,000, they would ask where it went. If I said I lost it, they would ask why I didn't sell. And I didn't have a good answer. The truth was too embarrassing. I didn't sell because I wanted more. That was it. No complicated market explanation. No conspiracy. Just greed wearing the costume of confidence. What happened next almost made the situation worse. I decided I would win the money back. Not slowly. Not responsibly. Immediately. This is where many traders destroy themselves. A large loss creates pressure. You stop viewing the market as a place to find good opportunities. You start viewing it as the place holding money that belongs to you. Every trade becomes personal. I took the remaining money and entered another risky position. I told myself I only needed one strong move, but now I wasn't trading from confidence. I was trading from desperation. The stock moved slightly against me and I panicked. I sold for another loss. Then I entered a different trade. Another loss. Within days, the account dropped below $9,000. I was almost back where I had started, except I didn't feel like the person who had once saved $8,000. That person felt hopeful to come. I felt like I had lost $117,000. Eventually, I stopped trading. Not because I suddenly became disciplined. I stopped because I was emotionally exhausted. For several weeks, I couldn't look at a chart without feeling sick. But distance helped me understand something important. My mistake wasn't simply choosing the wrong stock. The secondary offering was unexpected. No one could predict the exact announcement. The real mistake happened before the news. I had built a position so large that one unexpected event could destroy almost everything. I had confused being right several times with being unable to be wrong, and I had allowed one investment to become my entire financial identity. When it went up, I felt intelligent. When it collapsed, I felt worthless. That wasn't investing. That was gambling with extra steps. Looking back, there were several obvious opportunities to protect myself. I could have sold enough to recover my original investment. I could have taken partial profits as the stock climbed calm. I could have reduced the options before the announcement. I could have kept most of the money in normal shares instead of contracts with expiration dates. I could have decided in advance what amount would be enough. That last one matters more than it sounds. Before a trade goes up, people often say, if I make $10,000, I'll sell. Then the trade reaches $10,000 and they think it could reach $20,000. At $20,000, they imagine $50,000. The finish line keeps moving because greed doesn't have a final number. Without a plan, every profit becomes temporary. You don't own the gain simply because it appears on your screen. You own it only after you manage the risk or take the profit. Until then, it is still exposed, and the market can take it back much faster than it gave it to you. I eventually began investing again, but this time, I made rules. No single position could control my future. No options trade could contain money I couldn't afford to lose. When an investment produced a large gain, I took some profit. Not necessarily all of it, but enough that a reversal wouldn't erase everything. Most importantly, I stopped measuring success by the highest number my account had ever reached. Peak value can be misleading. A person whose account briefly reaches $100,000 and crashes to 10. 1,000 is not necessarily more successful than someone who slowly builds $10,000 into 30,000 and keeps it. The goal isn't to create the most impressive screenshot. The goal is to keep progressing after the excitement disappears. I used to believe the greatest skill in investing was finding the next stock that would explode. Now I believe it is something much less exciting. Knowing how much risk you're taking before the market teaches you. I still have the screenshot of the $126,417 account. For a long time, I kept it because I wanted proof that I had once been successful. Now I keep it for a different reason. It reminds me that a big win can be just as dangerous as a big loss. A loss makes you afraid. A win can make you careless. And when you start believing you can't lose, that is usually when you are taking the most risk. One bad trade erased the biggest investing win of my life. But the trade itself wasn't the real reason. The real reason was that I had reached an amount that could change my life. And instead of protecting it, I risked everything for a number that existed only in my imagination. So here's the question I wish someone had asked me that day. If your investment doubled tomorrow, would you actually know when to take profits? Or would you keep moving the finish line until the market decided the ending for you? Because making money in the market feels incredible. But keeping it, that is the part nobody screenshots. Subscribe for more investing stories about the decisions, mistakes, and emotions that charts never show. And comment below.com. What percentage gain would finally be enough for you to take profits?